Hey, it's Azrielle Lawless, and once again, you've taken the elevator and found yourself in Vella. And I'm here today with MegFitz, and she is an author out on Kindle Vella. Say hi, Meg. How you doing?
Hi, how are you? How's everybody?
Well, I'm so glad to have you here on the show. I'm so happy to meet you. I love your serial, Accidental Quarantine, which is doing so very well. But we are getting ahead. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Sorry about that, people. Do that sometimes. Okay, here comes the first question. MegFitz, when did you start writing?
So I started writing when I was a kid, right? So when I was a teenager, middle school, I really loved cartoons and I really, really wanted to work for DC Comics. Like that's what I wanted more than anything.
Worthy goal.
Hmm?
A worthy goal.
Yeah. But then, so around my freshman year of high school, I was watching, so I grew up in the 90s with Tiny Toon Adventures and Batman, the animated series, and Gargoyles and the Disney Afternoon and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really like the golden age of animation. Like, quite frankly, it was amazing. It was a great time to grow up. And I started like watching the credits, right? And I noticed that there were no women. There was only one woman writer on Tiny Toons, and there was like very few women who were writing or in control of the storytelling. And that kind of broke my heart and sort of took me away from writing for a long time. Well, not like writing, but it shifted my goal, right? From doing something like comics and animation into doing something like more paper based, right? Something that I could do myself and not necessarily have to rely on an entire team. Right. Because I was very worried that if I made it to that level, it was because I was a girl and not because I was talented. Like I was meeting some sort of quota. I was very meta in high school, very like socially aware of that stuff. So the thing is around,
No, I didn't.
Around that time, I also found out that I have learning disability and that I am dysgraphic, which means it's not like dyslexia where things like flip around, but it's much more like certain letters, especially in the middle of the words, are wrong. And I can't see that they're wrong. And then, so I read things wrong a lot. I drop words all the time when I'm writing, when I'm reading. Like nothing gives me more panic attacks than to like read out loud in front of a group, which is ironic for what my real life is. But well,
how did you do in school? Because my son is severely dyslexic. I mean, really, really.
So yeah. I was always a B/C student. Like I would get B's and then I would get like 1 or 2 C's every marking period. I was never an A student. I didn't become an A student until I hit grad school. And then it just kind of like, it slowly started to kind of get better. And not so much better as much as I learned different techniques and strategies in order to improve. And a lot of it was also just like accepting I'm going to need a lot more help. So yeah, I started writing. I wrote all throughout high school, and then college, I stopped writing. And then I went to grad school and kind of stopped writing then, and then started writing again in 2015-ish, right after I got married. Kind of started doing that. I'm one of these people that always has to have something going on. Like I can't just do one thing. I have to have like lots of things. Otherwise, I need to feel productive. Otherwise I get depressed. So it's a way of like managing all that. I don't know if that sounds like anybody else, but I have to.
Dude, that's the key. It's the key to getting out of it.
Yeah.
To have some kind of goal, that and some sunshine, vitamin D, and you know, I've recently learned that a dry sauna, get your ass into a dry sauna for 15 minutes, 3x a week. you know, and I have a membership, so I try to get up there. It's not
Nice.
easy, but I try.
Mhm.
You know, just to help. It's
Mhm.
because we have a bunch of us here. I'm in Seattle area.
Mhm.
So a bunch of us have seasonal affect disorder.
Yeah.
From
Mhm.
no light.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. But like outside is where the bugs are. So I try to not go out there. And you know what's also outside? People. There tends to be like people out there too. And
You know,
so in my imaginary world,
I've
there
been
are no bugs
told
and
there
people.
are. I've been told, but I don't know. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go out.
Yeah, I used to be very social and then COVID happened. And then I was like, this thing being by myself is awesome.
I was too. I was like, I won't say very social. I hadn't been very social in probably meh, 6 or 7 years before COVID, if I'm honest,
Mhm.
But the COVID shutdown made me a complete hermit,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Like
It
I haven't had a
definitely.
haircut in more than a year. Look at those
Ooh,
ends. Check them out. Aren't
they're
they?
hot.
I
Actually, I really like the gray though. I like it a lot more. I think it makes you look like regal and mysterious, like
oh, thanks,
I like
man.
an amazing witch out in the woods or something that has like amazing powers and forest creatures coming over to you. And everyone's like, she's so cool. And everybody like works up the nerve to come talk to you.
Tell no one. Here's my hat. Hang on. I'll edit that out. But here, I'll put my hat on.
Let me
I do
see.
wear these quite a bit.
Oh, that's so cool. Yes.
See the little top.
Yeah,
Whee!
I love it.
So yeah, this is my hat, and yeah, I quit dyeing my hair.
Yeah,
So
no, I think it's a good call. I really love it.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm not ashamed of my age. I'm glad I'm here. There are many who have been denied this privilege,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and many
Very much aware of that.
in my class when I was in school, many have them, and the list is just now it's freaking staggering. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
That guy
Yeah.
was so fit, man. That guy was so fit.
Yeah, it turns out like I don't really think that's worth it. Like just have donuts for lunch, whatever. Like it's
Yeah.
gonna happen. You might as well be happy.
Yeah. Doesn't seem to affect the end. Like,
No, it's gonna happen for everyone.
I was sitting down talking to some old gals. I don't know why I'm talking about this. We're still on camera. Hang on. I'm gonna pause. Okay. So let's get back to talking about your writing.
Okay.
Got off the beat there for a minute. Had to stop recording to have a little bit of a chin wag. Anyway, so you started writing as a kid, wrote through school, and then through college, and
And
so when did you very first publish something like a story or?
so when it came to publication, I tried. I had written about 4 books, mostly YA, from 2005 to about 2011.
Well, can we hear about those then?
Hmm?
I want to hear about those.
Oh,
I can find a pen, but just keep going. I'm listening.
So one was it was a story about a boy in a band, like trying to like make it kind of big. And it was about him and his brother. And then another one was, this one was more of an adult one where it was a kind of a Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist where these 2 people meet and then they're stuck in New York and they're trying to get back to Hoboken. So they have to like walk back. And then there was another one. Then there was Accidental Quarantine. And so all those books I tried pitching, like I did the query process and rejected. I was in the middle of writing a book called Universal Breakdown, where it was basically like sliders and the characters were running a circuit And every time they jumped into a new world, they would have like a whole new experience, and they would pick people up along the way. And it was a really cool idea. Like I thought, I was like, huh, this is kind of fun. And while I was writing that, I was working on Accidental Quarantine and trying to get that together. And every agent passed on it. I had one small press was kind of interested in it. And they had said that Hayden's name was originally Hank. They had said that Hank, being depressed and being his self-loathing made him an unlikable character. And quarantine was not something that would ever really happen. So it was very unrealistic as a story. Yeah. Yeah, legit. Like that was the feedback, was like, this is unrealistic. It's not going to happen. And like, nobody wants to read about a depressed teenage boy. And I was like, oh, okay. And so that was in 2011. And I was in Disney World when I got the final like rejection. And I was devastated. Like I remember exactly where I was. And I was my kid was 3 years old. And I was like, I have missed out on my kid being little, because I was like writing and doing this stuff, and it just didn't pay off. So I stopped writing after that. I stopped writing for a long time. I got into dancing. I got into makeup. I got into a bunch of other things. I continued my education, got my master's plus 30, like just kept busy. And then during our break, we were talking about how my mom got really sick. Well, in order to kind of be therapy for that and escapism, I started to write Best Laid Plans. And then I was driving down, spoiler alert, my mom does not survive the story. I was driving down to her funeral and kind of processing, but not processing, like actively avoiding my emotions and really focusing on the stories that I was writing. And I was like, oh, I kind of want to write these characters as older. So my mom passed away in 2019, and through 2019 through 2020 and into 2021, I wrote probably about 200,000 words about Kinsley and Davin, and like their adult life, their teenage life, all this kind of stuff. And then I was done. The story was done. And I was like, now what? And then I was going through Facebook, and one of my friends who I used to write with way back when I first wrote Accidental Quarantine, had said that they had published a book. And I was like, oh, how did you do that? And my friend was like, oh, I just put it on Amazon. I was like, that's an option? Like the amount of times I was like, wait, what?
What year was this, honey?
So I decided to start to publish in 2022, like the very end of 2021, beginning of 2022.
And then you did not know that you could do this?
Not really. Like, so when I was looking at querying, it was 10 years ago, and querying had been, and like self-publishing had been like, oh, you self-published. Like it was very much looked down upon. And I had stopped right like about 6 months, 7 months before, like it's the whole shifts really started to change, right? Wow. So like I missed that. And while we were in quarantine, I remember standing in my kitchen, and I was like, I feel like I've done this before. Like I feel like I've done all of this, like sitting on a couch and watching TV. Like I feel like it's happened before. And I'm like, where did oh, right, I wrote a book about this and it was a complete failure. And then I went back, I was like, okay, whatever. And then I went back to reading Lore of Olympus which is a Persephone Hades retelling. And I was like, son of a bitch. Like it was like all right there at the whole time. I was like, oh. So yeah, that's what kind of brings me to January of 2022. Everything just kind of clicked and I made choices and I discovered Kindle Vella, and that's really what launched me into Kindle Vella and all this other stuff.
January 2022.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. Well, Meg, okay, so we already know that your first Vella was Accidental Quarantine. We've been talking about Accidental Quarantine. Accidental Quarantine blew up, dude. Blew up.
Oh, yeah, I was not like expecting that. So I knew when I learned about Vella that the structure that Accidental Quarantine would probably do pretty well, because they, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a Hades Persephone retelling where Hayden is Hades, and basically he has a crush on this girl, and he overhears that someone's going to hurt her, so he ends up accidentally kidnapping her, and then along the way they get exposed to a deadly virus. Now they're in quarantine for 6 months. But I knew that they would get, the way it had been structured, because I had structured it for publication, and I knew that I wanted, within my first like 25 pages, I wanted something big to happen. I knew that they got infected and were stuck in quarantine at the end of chapter 3. So then I knew that like it was structured in such a way that people would want to continue reading. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you knew you were right for Kindle Vella, but this story was already written, right?
Yes, it was already written.
And how many episodes is it? It wound up being like 30 something.
Yeah, it ended up being 30, and then I wrote a bonus chapter.
Okay.
Yeah. So
30.
So it ended up being 31.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Okay. So what did you do? Did you just sit there and schedule all these and then just sit back and watch people read them?
Yeah, pretty much. So my goal ultimately was Best Laid Plans, which was the book that I wrote while my mom was ill and all that stuff. And my goal was that one, because I feel like Best Laid Plans is going to be the thing that is going to be like much bigger, because it's like a whole series and that kind of stuff.
And Best Plans I just want to make sure everybody knows, Best Laid Plans is her second Vella, and it just dropped today. So congratulations.
Thank
100%, man. Go. So I wasn't done talking about, Accidental Quarantine.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that it's a success, because it's very good. And I'm just delighted that you decided to just put it out there, because that's what you have to do. That is absolutely what you have to do. My story is very similar to yours in terms of instead of being fed up, I'm exactly the same kind of fed up, but in 1992.
Yep.
So ahead of you by 9 years. To say that I am done with you a-holes in the publication industry, governing my life, because I'll never punch through your gateway, because the gateway that you let people through is from, nepotism, cronyism, just this gal went to the same college that your girl went to, which was Ivy League and yada hootie wad wad. So, it was very, I looked at the publication industry as just absolutely an impenetrable pile of crap. So.
Well, like it just seemed so far beyond my reach. Right.
And like you, I had to say enough. I missed a lot of my kids. When you were saying that, I got kind of a little bit emo, because I totally did. And you pay for it later. You pay for it. My kids are a lot older now. They're both adults. And I think that there was an effect,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
but anywho, so samesies,
Samesies, twinsies.
samesies, yes. Absolutely. So, but Best Laid Plans, it dropped today, but it dropped with 5 episodes. So
yes. So what
how do you
happened
know?
was Accidental Quarantine, I consider to be my baby book, like my book to learn, my book to figure out how Vella worked, to figure out how the publication, the self-publishing worked, to figure out how to build a newsletter, to build a website, to build all that. So that was like my, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, I wasn't emotionally attached to that because it was so far away, right? I was like very emotionally like removed from it. So if it was a total failure, fine, whatever. I was just learning, you know? So Best Laid Plans is fully written, and and right now the first 9 episodes have been scheduled out. Probably by the end of the weekend, maybe mid-week, the whole thing will be scheduled straight out. And in theory, it should end sometime in August. And then my goal is for publication in October, like September, October range for Kindle and Kindle Unlimited and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. So amazing. I have the utmost sorry.
Right now we're talking about Best Laid Plans, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're saying it's already ready. You get this all planned out, and by November it's going to be available in Kindle Unlimited and Kindle to get yourself a paper copy. Right.
Yep.
Right. This is fantastic news. Now, will this be the first time you did it, or are you going to have Accidental Quarantine there before that?
So Accidental Quarantine will be in, it's already arcing. Like, I already have ARC readers out there.
What does that mean?
It will be released on.
What does ARC readers mean? Help me.
Oh, advanced reader copies. So it's going through the whole process, and it should go, in theory, it'll go live on July 8th. That's my goal, is July 8th is a release date. And it'll be, I've got my cover, I've got my back cover, all sorts of stuff.
Here, now listen. Listeners, I'm gonna do you a favor here, because I know it's mostly writers that listen to these. So I know something about you. May I say that MegFitz is a teacher? May I say that?
Yeah.
Let's stay in then. And so I'm going to hit her up. Will you walk me through the process of making a Vella into a Kindle book? But big broad strokes, does certainly,
I feel like I'm kind of cheating. I'll be totally honest, because all my stuff was written ahead of time, and it was written as novels, not necessarily serials, which is a very different animal. Yes. And because I'm only focusing in one at a time, I feel like I can do my my promotions and all that kind of stuff, because I'm only focusing on one and I don't have to worry about writing, which takes a huge weight off. So I do feel like I'm cheating the system just a little bit, because everything was pre-done. And I don't talk about
the logistics, the actual logistics of taking the words into into a novel. No, okay. That's too much to go into.
Okay.
I mean, the mechanical steps. Let's say your words are polished to your best possible ability. All right. So your words are all polished. You're good to go. What do you do? What are the clicks?
So, the first thing was I created a webpage and then the newsletter. just so I would have all that done beforehand. Then I went through a couple different editing softwares in order to figure out which one really worked well. And I ended up settling on the Kindle Create for formatting. So the way I did it was there's like the promotion aspect and then there's the actual creation aspect. And you kind of have to do both at the same time, which is super frustrating. So I signed up for BookFunnel and in order to build my newsletter and to get the word out there about my books. So
that's required. Is that required?
NewsFunnel's not necessarily, or BookFunnel, sorry, BookFunnel's not necessarily required, but it is something that in my research people had said that had worked really well.
Okay, so as you're putting up your format, or are you formatting now, or are you at this point, or are you already formatted?
I am like 90% done formatting.
I mean in your story that you're giving us.
Oh yeah, I'm done. Like, yeah. So
formatting's done, signing up for BookFunnel.
Yeah, so signing up for BookFunnel, sending out that stuff. My ARC is on BookFunnel as well. And BookFunnel, I had to use Readsy for a formatting because Readsy Kindle Create doesn't support the same thing that BookFunnel does. So a lot of it was a lot of like figuring out like what program works with what does what. It's a lot of like learning as you go. So yeah, right now I've got some BookFunnel. My ARC is through BookFunnel. I have some like excerpts and all that kind of stuff. And then I have my front cover, my back cover, and everything formatted through Kindle Create, and that's what'll go up on Amazon. And I was going to do that today, and then my friend was like, no, you should wait a little while. I'm like, okay. So
did you create your own cover?
No, there are things I am good at. I'm a delightful human being. I can tell a great fart joke, but I am not visually good at the stuff at all. So I went to Middle Art, and they were fantastic. I went through a whole bunch of different drafts with it. It was a really interesting process.
Did you say Middle Art?
Mibble, Mibleart.
MIBLE.
ART.
New word, ART.
No, all one.
MibleArt.
Yeah.
Not too deep.
I'll put a link when this goes live. I'll be boop, 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 boop. There you go.
Here you go. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, great.
Boop, boop, boop. And they were really, really great to work with. I kind of had, I didn't know what I wanted the cover for the book Accidental Quarantine to look like. So that's why I definitely needed to work with people who knew what they were doing, and they were fantastic. And we kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And every time I looked at something, I'd be like, oh, this is my cover. And then I'd look at it for 5 minutes. I'm like, this is not my cover. Like, this is not going to work the way I want it to.
That just kills me, because I don't know how I would ever decide. Some of these are just, in fact, a lot of them, like all of them, are so good.
Yeah, I would. So if I was talking to my friend who's a book editor, and she focuses primarily in the romance world and is pretty well like connected in that world. And she's like, the two things you need to spend money on, you don't really need to spend, most important things is your cover and your editor. Those are the two places where you definitely drop your money. So my cover, my 3D animated cover, and my front and back cover, all that together was about $250, which I feel like pretty reasonably priced.
$250.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dead fine. Is that it? That's the end of it? There's no residuals, nothing like that?
Nope. Yep, I would really recommend them. Oh,
And that was for the 3D animated cover and the book cover? That was for the 3D animated cover and the book cover? Everything, all inclusive.
It was, so the paperback cover, and the paperback cover with the front and the back, the front cover for ebook, and all of that's $200. And then, or you could just get the ebook cover for $150. And then I had them do an additional for $50 more, the animated cover, because I figured it was better for promotions on like TikTok and anything that was video based.
Oh yeah. Anything that moves.
Yeah.
Anything that catches the eye. You know, this is a marketing thing.
Yeah.
Drag that eyeball over there. You've won the first round.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we're out there on Kindle. We've got Accidental Quarantine and your new book, which once again is Best Laid Plans. And again, tell us a little bit about that. You spoke a little bit about Accidental Quarantine, but let's hear about Best Laid Plans.
So Best Laid Plans is the first book in a trilogy. So when I was going through all my stuff and writing all my stuff, I kind of decided like, this could be 3 different books. So the premise is that in the first book, Best Laid Plans, Kinsley is a list loving, rule following kind of girl who is willing to break her rules if it's for a hot hookup, but as long as no feelings are involved. Like, she's got another set of rules when it comes to guys and does not want to break those rules. Then she gets partnered up with Davin, who is like this tortured artist with a like tragic backstory, and she doesn't know anything about him. Like, they have lived in 2 completely different social circles in school that she didn't even know he existed. So he finds that really appealing because she doesn't know anything about his past. So the 2 of them have a hard time like denying the fact that they're attracted. And then it's all about like his acceptance of himself and her acceptance of, and like falling in love for the first time and all that good stuff. So that's like book 1, is that the beginnings of their relationship, that cute little like meet cute, like, oh, you're so cute. The second book, which is Failure to Plan, which I'm in the middle of finishing the last couple of scenes for here, and it's in beta. That one takes place like 5 months later, and Davin and Kinsley are in really committed relationship, like really in it. And his music career starts to take off.
How old are they?
Oh, okay. So that's an excellent question. The first book starts off with them being 17. The second book starts is them at 18 through like 20. And then the third book takes place 10 years after the second book. So we see them as adults and how that relationship formed them as an adult. So that one
still together. Spoiler, are they still together?
Nah, well, it's a trilogy. So some books have happily ever after, some books do not, but by
some
the
books
end,
develop triads. Some books develop going into the life. Some books do a lot of things. Once they're 18, it's free game. So book number 2, it is fair game.
So now, book 1 has like on the chili pepper spice level. Accidental Quarantine had no spice. It was very, very, very clean. Some curse words, some implied stuff, but nothing like nothing hot and heavy. Nothing. Best Laid Plans is like a 2 chili pepper, right? Like stuff's happening, but it's not like stuff is happening. In book 2, stuff starts happening. It's like a 2 to 3 chili pepper, depending on what your scale is. And then book 4 as them as adults, like in their late 20s and much more secure in what they're doing, that's like your 4 or 5 chili pepper kind of thing. So it's a very,
That's book 4.
that's book 3.
Okay, I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay, you said 4.
Yeah. Well, because Accidental Quarantine, like if you're looking at the scope of my career, like they get spicier as I go on.
Yes, but they're not the same people, are they?
No, but actually about a couple of months ago, when Accidental Quarantine started to do kind of well, I was like, well, I had these characters that were like supposed to be these like famous, not famous, but like powerful people. And I was like, well, why don't I just bring those characters in? So, tiny spoiler, Penny and Hayden are going to be small characters in Failure to Plan.
Nice.
So yeah, it's like a little like, oh, I read that. There you go. That's them, that kind of thing. So the idea is that it's all kind of one sort of universe that they're all sort of hanging out in.
Yes.
It's my own MCU.
Very nice. Very nice. So now back to just discussing your success on Vella. I noticed that it's got 2,733 reads now. For how many episodes? 30, right? 31. You
Yep.
gave him a bonus. Right, gave him. Yeah, no. Oh, okay. If I'm gonna laugh like that, I suppose I better hat up, hadn't I? Okay. So now were you shocked over the bonuses?
Yes. Like every time I go in and I'm looking at, like, each time I see my bonus, I feel like I'm gonna cry. Like, never, ever, ever had I thought I would get remotely close, like, at all. Like the bonuses, my first bonus, I was like amazed. My second bonus, I'm like, this can't be reality. My third bonus, I was like, I don't know what's happening here. So yeah, it takes a lot of the pressure off of a main release, of like a wide release, because in my mind, the book is already financially successful, right? Like,
yes, not just in your mind, in your bank account.
Yeah, but like it does take that pressure off. And I really feel like every artist and every author should be on Vella, just in order to kind of get
earn your
like,
way in, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And like kind of get a little bit of a cushion and just use it to learn. Like, I think it's a great place to have, like, you're like 95% there and you're not 100% ready to publish, but you're real close, right? And then you can get that feedback. You can figure out what's working, what's not, before it goes wide. And you get a little bit of money for it. And that's pretty amazing.
Well, right now you're getting more than a little bit for it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't quit my job.
No,
I cannot quit my job to do Vella and write full time.
Well, no, because we never know when this is going to stop.
Yes,
that's the thing. You probably could, Meg, and you probably could, if this were guaranteed to be the way that it was going to be from here on into eternity.
Yeah, I'm always kind of worried that they're just going to pull it at any moment. Like, yeah. But then I get like these weird things, like on the dashboard initially when I started, like the Vella was like little tiny itty bitty like link way up at the top of the dashboard, and then like now it's an actual button and it's kind of fancy, and now they're doing the Kindle promotion, which has been awesome. And yeah, so it's been, on one hand, I'm always expecting it to go away, like always expecting it just to kind of fall apart at any second. But on the other hand, like there's little hints that maybe Amazon's going to keep this for a little while. So yeah,
I'm telling you, man, Amazon's going to keep it, and they're planning on making it the serial reading platform in the world. The number one. That's what they're planning on. They saw that they were missing out on some money, some reading money. And also, you know, I think they saw when the serial, you know, they have a global view. So they've been able to track the serial reading platforms and know that this is the new flow for the younger generation. And so, yeah, they're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
But in terms of how long they're going to pay at this rate, we don't know. We have no idea how long that's going to keep going.
Yeah. And it's always kind of a mystery as to like how and why things go the way they do. And I don't know. I'm always just amazed. Like I check my dashboard an obsessive amount. Like I have a problem. But every time I see the bonus number, I'm like, I can't believe that's real, because the royalty numbers to me, that's like what a writer makes, you know, like that's like the real number in my mind. Like that's like, if I was to go live and to send out Accidental Quarantine right now, what I'm making on my royalties, that's what I would figure I would make for my, like a wide release kind of thing. So the bonuses just like blow my mind. Yeah.
Yes. The royalties are really abysmal though. They're really small.
Yeah.
You know?
But if you look at it per chapter, like, and if you break it down for the amount that someone is paying throughout, like, I don't know, I haven't really done that math, but yeah, I don't know because I never done the math to see how much of my royalties would be if I just looked at it per chapter. And if someone read straight through and these are my royalties for the whole book from the chapter versus individual. So I suspect the chapters would be more, because if I went to charge $4.99 for Accidental Quarantine, my take home would be somewhere around like $2 a book. And I feel like my royalties at 31 chapters are higher than $2 a book.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'd have to figure mine out. Mine looks so small, you know, because I don't have the number of reads you have. You have to really, really cram in the numbers to get it to even go up in dollars at all. So well, yeah, there's $1.
Yeah, I still get very much like, ooh, $1. Ooh, like I get very
it takes a lot of words for the dollar to build though.
Yeah, it really does. So and a part of it is also I was watching your last one and you guys were talking about like reading shorter chapters versus longer chapters and all that kind of stuff, and how like a story that has 20 or is like a 22 token chapter, you're like, oh, because I feel the same way. And like Best Laid Plans, the 4th chapter is like a 22. I'm like, son of a but then I actually make a note at the bottom of 24. I'm like, I promise you guys, all the other chapters are gonna be really, really short. They're gonna be like 9, like between like 12 to 15, I think is really the sweet spot.
Shit, so man, you're not even gonna know I wrote them. There you go. That's how short they're gonna be.
I'm like, I'm so sorry, because yeah, that was one of the things that I had to do, was I had to look at the chapters and figure out ways to condense them and leave each chapter on somewhat of a cliffhanger to make people want to read to the next one too.
Yes.
So yep.
Yes. And I know that you've done an excellent job, or you wouldn't be up this high. You know, that's a lot of reads. 3,700 is a lot of reads in my book for sure. You know, my biggest is like 900, and I've been
still amazing though.
I've been in September since September, Meg, since September. So yes, I want to go. I want to go up in the 4-digit club. I see it.
You're so close.
I see it on the horizon. Hello. Hello. Yes. Hello, all you snobs. Yes. I'd like to come up and float on that cloud. Thank you. Thank you. No, it's just, it's a big deal to me to get to, the next number of digits. So anywho, let's see. So we've talked about your Vellas. Is there anything else you want to say about your Vellas?
I like them. I think they're funny. Yeah, I mostly write for me if I think something's funny. Like there's a line in Best Laid Plans where Kinsley is very obsessed with office supplies, and you find out like she's named all of her office supplies, and she's like, well, how else would I know that Miss Printerton was having an affair with the slide ruler and she lost her husband in the great ink drought of 2007? Like there's things in there that make me laugh hysterically, so I hope that it makes other people laugh, and that's really my goal.
Well, it's very cute. I love that. So, do you have any that are planned? What are you planning?
So Best Laid Plans will be out and done by August, and then released wide in September, October. Once around September, October, that's when Failure to Plan will go through Vella. Okay. And then after Failure to Plan goes through Vella, then it'll be about 6 to 8 weeks before that goes wide. And then once that goes wide, then the last book will go to Vella. And
what's the last book's name?
The last book's name is All According to Plan. So it's like Best Laid Plans, Failure to Plan, All According to Plan. And spoiler alert, the names very much tell you exactly what's going to happen. I'm not very good at naming things at all. Like I'm very on the nose.
This is trippy. I like it. I think you've run onto something really clever here. I like that. And so you are currently, though, in your writing, you're currently about midway through Failure to Plan.
Yeah, I would say I am content-wise about 75% done with that. And then it'll go through betas and it'll go through editors and all that kind of stuff. And Failure to Plan, I'm going to write over the summer, and it's going to be a full rewrite. Like I wrote something and it was like obscene how long it was. Like there is no excuse for that story to be, I think it ended up being like 140,000 words. And I'm like, it is a stupid romance. Like it should not be that long. There's no reason for that.
But do people like it?
I don't know. Like it's also not, it doesn't fit the tropes that are very popular. It doesn't have that like format that a lot of books have, and that system that it has. So that's where I'm a little bit concerned. But I think the last book is definitely I think it's going to be the best one. I think each one gets better and better and better.
Well, I really am eager to see them when they come out. Let's celebrate them out on our social media presence, which is the next thing I was going to ask you about. And I know I didn't mention this pre-recording, but your social media presence. You've been building that along as well. You've built your newsletter, you've done your website, your social media presence. Are you on TikTok?
I am on TikTok. All my stuff is, all my numbers are very low. Like I think I've got 200 followers or 270 followers on TikTok. I have a whopping 8 people on my newsletter. I know you're jealous. 8 people. What? You almost need 2 hands to fill up that.
Yeah, no joke, man. No joke, man. All of mine are writers, though.
Yeah, I've got 1 or 2 writers, and everybody else. I am 3 of the people on my newsletter. Okay, like legit. Like I am 3. Like
I'm
so
right
when it
there
comes
with
to
you.
that stuff, I'm not like blowing up the way that not that I would want to see, but like my numbers don't necessarily like match up 100%. But I think my TikToks are really cute and endearing. Like I like my TikToks. They make me laugh. So
What about Instagram? Have you had better success out there?
So I don't really like Instagram. I was never really like an Instagram user.
I don't either.
And
I don't either.
Yeah. Anything that I put on TikTok will usually go to Instagram Reels, but Instagram was not really my thing. I think there's the aesthetic has to be so much higher. It has to be so much prettier, perfect. And I'm not very good at the visuals.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be like something in a portrait painting or something.
Yeah, that's had always the impression that I've gotten on Instagram. Like it's also never been like my social media go-to. Like I prefer TikTok and I prefer like YouTube and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, all of mine are going to be destined for YouTube. So anyway, well, okay. So, and of course we're doing this interview. So you're going to be out on YouTube on Bella. And you're going to have all of these links in here to click on, which is going to be wonderful. But the next question that I want to ask you is, since after getting into Vella's community out in social media, what have you read? Which ones have you read that you would like to shout out and recommend to others to read?
So the one that pops into my mind that I really, really, really love is The Fallback Guy. I don't think that it's getting nearly enough love or attention that it should be. It is the cutest LGBTQ story. It is like so endearing and sweet. And as soon as I started reading it, I just like swooned. And it was just every single character is heartfelt and honest. And oh, it's so good. It's one of those stories that I read the first 10 chapters and I don't want to read anymore because I don't want it to be over. Like it's so Nicholas Scott has done that one. So he's not really often in like the groups. I don't see him very often there. But that one's a really good one. I really enjoyed that.
Wonderful.
I really like pretty much anything by Rose Sinclair. The Clover Academy, I think, is really funny. The Lavender Library, I think, is really great. I think she's got a really great use of voice and tone, and her characters are really well developed, and her pacing is really good, and her storytelling is funny, along with really, it feels real. So I really love her stuff. I don't know, so I have a problem when I don't pay attention to like authors' names and their pen names and stuff. I'm really terrible about that. I really focus on like the picture. But Cupcakes and Time Travel, have you tried that one?
No,
it's so good. It's so good. It's about a woman who just like ends up falling into a new time period, and she's like in this old town in the like 1800s but she's like a modern woman, and it's really fun. And I have to give a shout out to Reigning Ember, which is like a fantastic fantasy. The characters are really well written. So I know the author's real name. I don't remember what her pen name is, but she just does such a phenomenal job of keeping things fantastic while like incredibly high quality writing, along with like funny pacing. It's just, but all of those are great. So I like ones that like make me laugh and help me like distract from the world. The scary ones I really kind of struggle with, although Mothman Prophecy, that was another one that I really liked. There are some that like scare me too much, like Mistaken. That thing's my worst nightmare. Oh,
Mistaken.
Yeah, that's too scary for me. I enjoy it, but I'm like, oh yeah.
What's Mistaken?
Mistaken is a mistaken identity story. So this man gets taken because the couple thinks that he's someone else. And so they're like kidnapping him and like torturing him because they think he's some other guy. And then it's all a mistaken identity thing. And it's just like my worst nightmare. Like I can handle werewolves and I can handle like, you know, aliens or whatever, but like something like that, because you can't reason with crazy. Like if someone's 100% convinced that you are this person, you can't reason your way out of that.
No.
Oh, that one. Whew.
Yes. Yes. So, all right. Well, so that's what we have here. I don't have who wrote Raining Embers.
So I know her, it's Amber.
Is it's raining like I'm reigning as the queen, R-E-I-N.
Yeah. And Embers.
R-E-I-G-N-I-N-G.
Yeah, I think her pen name is C.S. Silas or something. I'm really bad with
Right. Got it though.
that.
As long as I've got the real name, we'll find the Vella
Yeah.
author.
I'll send you the link and all that kind of stuff.
And you guys who are listening to this, you Vella authors, forgive us.
I'm sorry.
I'm
like
sure
everybody has so many different
Shit.
names and a lot of people are writing under multiple pen names too. Oh, I have my crown too.
Stick it on, girl.
All right.
Gotta get that. All right. Yeah,
All right.
Hey, can't see all of it. Look at that.
Woo!
That's the big one. That's the one for Sunday.
That is a good one. That one's a full round one. Mine's just like a little
that's the
fancy headband. Yeah.
I have a crystal one that's a lot more comfortable than this. All right.
Yeah.
So we got to stick these on. So we want to be Vella queens, yes.
Oh, yes.
And I think we want to be book talk queens too.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
That'd be pretty cool.
Listen, so hey, book talk. We need you to take a look at us. We're Vella people. You don't know what Vella is, but you're going to know what Vella is. And listen to her.
Well, my TikTok that has the most views, which is a whopping 300. I know you're jealous. I know. Oh,
no, I totally am.
viral.
I don't think I have one that's that high.
Okay, no. What's frustrating is like I'll see like some teenage kid that has like 200,000 followers. I'm like, all your TikToks are just like you walking around.
Yeah, anyway, I don't know.
It's
taken a little while to get the rhythm of it, but I'm working at it. At it. So here we are. This is Azrielle Lawless and MegFitz here. In TikTok, we're saying that we're worthy. We're worthy.
We can do this.
We're worthy. All right. We would like to be. We would like to be in the book talk flow of the algorithm. Thank you very much. We want all the people to know that Vella is the way to go.
It's good. My highest TikTok was all about Vella and why everyone should be a part of it. And
that's the way we should go.
Yeah. We really should be pushing it a lot more, not just like our individual stories, but a platform as a whole. Right. Because it's such an amazing community of writers too. Right.
I did a challenge today on Hella Vella Facebook and said, make an ad for Vella and stick it somewhere, and let's stick it a lot of somewheres.
That was one of my first TikToks. It was it was me sitting in my car doing an advertisement of like, do you have 10 minutes because your kid is in at their baseball game and you don't want to talk to the crazy parents that are there, but you only have 10 minutes. Welcome to Kindle Vella, bite-sized reading. That's right. You can get your endorphins on and feel that level of productivity go off and read a chapter. So
you can keep from your brain from turning to mush from being the mom of a, small child.
And you can read some spicy stuff too. It's a win-win.
We won't talk about sitting in a car and reading that spicy stuff. We're not going to talk about the 10 minutes with the spicy stuff. Okay, so on with the interview. Well, my dear, since you've had good success out here and you've shouted out some folk, the next question is, if you were in charge of Kindle Vella, what would you do, if anything, to change it?
So a lot of people are bringing up like they would want comments added in, and I think with the serial format and with this format, I think comments would be very cool, especially if you kept everything linked together on Amazon, right? Like this way Amazon could kind of like, this way I'm not sending people out to Facebook in order to have comments. Everything could live on Amazon, and then Amazon could be, you know, that big evil corporation that's taking all of that information and figuring out an algorithm and blah, 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 blah. But
well, I think it would be to
business-wise,
their benefit to do it.
yeah,
Yes,
definitely business-wise, it
because
makes sense.
it would help them target, you know,
Yes.
whether the algorithms right now are sexy enough to do that,
Mhm.
but there will be. Give
Yeah.
it 5 minutes and they will be.
Yeah.
So all information is data.
Yeah.
And data is king.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, anybody who doesn't know this needs to know this. Every word you say is valuable.
Yep.
Your phones are listening.
Oh yeah.
You figured that one out a long time ago.
My family. I have a super funny story. So I was driving in my car and there was a tick that fell from my from the ceiling down to the bottom of the onto me, and I like flicked it off. And then I was like, there's a tick in the car. There's a tick in the car. And so I was like, we just need to get out of the car and wait for it to die, right? So my husband starts to Google how long does, and the first option is how long does it take a tick to die in a car? And I'm like, that's even scarier than the tick. Oh, that was yeah. And my family and I have been watching like Community, and we've been watching like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and just going through the whole series. And all of a sudden my news has like all this content about like Community, but I have never once researched Community on my phone ever. So it's all listening. It's all a very scary deep state kind of
thing. Very much so. And I stay away from it as much as possible, but I know for a fact that it's already listening in a passive way.
Yep.
And so I use the the Amazon one. What's her name?
Alexa.
Yeah. I use her to change the channels on the television. That's it. Yep. I refuse to get anything else.
She wakes me up every morning, and the hardest thing I do is telling her to stop the alarm every morning.
Yeah.
I'm like, Alexa, stop. And I have to yell at her like 2 or 3 times. It's bad.
Oh my God. So anyway, yeah. So you would bring in comments.
And I would make the tags searchable. Like, it gets kind of frustrating in order to look for tags. Like when I was doing research for Best Laid Plans, I couldn't look for tags that like homecoming, because that's the main thing in the story, right? I couldn't search to see if there was anything on homecoming. There are 3 stories about goats. So, and goats play a part in my story. So I tagged goats, and I got in a bubble already, but are
you in a bubble for goats?
For goats. There's only 3 stories, so it's not necessarily like this big woo-hoo, but
I'm asking, man. There was a triple bubble for goats that was shown.
Yeah, and it was like the other 2, I think they were just waiting for a 3rd story because the other 2 were just ready to go with goats. Yeah. I don't even know what to say about it. It's so weird.
Okay.
So I wish things were more searchable. And the other thing that I wish is that there was a delineation between, you know, how the main categories, there's like 12 main categories, like romance, fantasy, horror, LGBTQ, you know, that. what gets kind of frustrating is if your characters are like 18 years old, it's a new adult story, but your label is young adult. So like young adult is a big wide range between like 13 to 18, and what a 13-year-old does is very different from what an 18-year-old does. So if you like, I would be very hesitant to recommend Vella to my kid or my kid's friends, because there's no like, while you can remove, like you can put some guidance on there, you really can't. So I do wish that there was like different categories almost, and a little bit more setting, or like Vella kids, you know, like a like PG-13 and lower section, and then a Vella for adults, you know. I think you're definitely missing out if you don't target kids. Like you're definitely missing out on a really great audience, because kids like short reading, right? Like novels are very intimidating to a lot of kids, and most of the kids that I know, because I'm a teacher, I teach middle school, they are really reading off of Wattpad. They're reading short stuff. So by putting it all together, it really is doing a disservice to kids and to parents, because there's no place to send them to feel safe and secure. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that would be my things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that would be your wish, is to have a separation between the adult stuff.
Yeah.
Not just the XXX stuff that is now.
No.
But
No.
the more adult stuff that is now available to YA audiences, that you would like a separation there. You know, I'm with
like
you.
that gets into a weird like censorship issue too, which I totally get, and I understand like why. I understand why people are on both sides of that. So it's just one of these things that as a parent, I would be very hesitant to send my kid over there, just because like the spice meter is a thing.
I don't see it as censorship if you make the other available, but through some kind of gateway that you must pass as an adult, you know, some way to lock that shit down.
Yeah.
Some way.
And there seems to be such a like a stigma against erotica, and like I don't think that's necessarily fair either, you know, like everybody likes what they like and no one's getting hurt and all that kind of stuff.
But if you think about it rationally, okay, they can't. Amazon cannot step in, because they cannot make that judgment call of where that line is.
Yeah.
You know, and they can't allow the authors to do it if they're going to verify that there's nothing out there that's going to hurt your 12-year-old's brain, you know. So literally they can't. There's no logistical way for them to do it. So there you're screwed. Well, okay, so there we go.
It's a very complicated.
Get your other wish.
That searchable tags and comments, that would be my big wish, is that I could actually, you know.
And even though you and I are absolute crap at names, other people are not, right? So I would like that that lit up author name to go click and take you to not only the other serials, but you know, any other books that are out there. So like a giant, take me to the Amazon, my Amazon page. Weirdos.
That has all my stuff.
Freaking Vella's on my Amazon page.
Because I was just looking at Tessa's stuff and Slit Throat Saga and all of her stuff, and I was like, well, where's her Vella stuff? Like, like I feel like it all should be together in one page.
Somebody had a dashboard that did have it, so I think they're going there. So like I think there's a lucky few who got to test the dashboard where the Vellas were. Because did you see that screen cap?
Yeah, I did.
Somebody who took that sucker?
I don't know who took it, but I know I love him so much, but I can't say his name, and it begins with a G, and I can't pronounce anybody's names in my head, but he's so sweet and so delightful, and I love him so much. but I don't know how to say his name. But he's great. But it was his page. He had his Vellas up, and he had a published book of like poems or something that he had done. And yeah, so I definitely think that would be amazing to have all of that together.
Yeah,
because
I'm
then
looking forward to that.
Yeah, because then if you're like a big named author, you could very easily do Vella and bring people over into that content too, and it's all on one page together.
I think they've got to have it planned for crossover. They have to.
I think it'll be the 1 year release. I think they'll do something
That'd be so
big for
exciting.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's
very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. We've reached the last of our interview, and I would like to ask you, since in the description of this interview, in the description of the video, we will have links for you to click to get to Meg's Vellas. Was there anything that you would like to say to your audience out there?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I can't, like, it blows my mind that people actually like stop and like just take the time to like look at stuff like that. It blows my mind. And I thank you. Like you it shouldn't be about validation, but it really is. And it really like it really
we've had that discussion,
like,
we all know
all my life choices. And as a kid who like really struggled with writing and really struggled with their learning disability and always had insecurities about it, it's nice. And like sometimes timing is everything, but guys, thank you so much. I'm just very thank you.
Once again, you guys, I mean, I know this is starting to sound like an evangelical show, but Vella has been life-changing for many writers whose voices have been tamped down by the impassable publication process, and we're just now learning that we have other options, and we're trying to get our voices out there, and it's happening in a very real way, and we're pretty excited about it. So it's easy to get emo at the end of these shows, especially when you reflect on the fun you've had and the good fortune that you've had. So you guys, we love Vella, and watch this. Thanks for watching this show, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, comment, like the video. Let's get some traffic out here. The whole point is to bring people to Vella. All right. Anybody thinking that I'm trying to make money off of this channel? No, I get nothing. And, and I swear in these videos, and I cut nothing out. So clearly, I simply want people to come out here and see the wonderful people who have been writing stories for you. You love TikTok, you love to see what people are doing and being genuine about it. Well, out here, man, you have got a gaggle of genuine authors who are genuinely trying to get their voices across, tell you some stories, entertain you, make your life a little bit better. So yeah, you guys pass this shit around. All right.
Yeah. And like when one of us does well, all of us do well. You know what I mean? Like it just helps everybody.
We are all on that same raft. Let's get her to rise on up, buddy.
Yep.
Have a great day, and
thank you.
Be sure and read some Vellas today. Thanks a lot. Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye.